What is up? Spright is finally here after much anticipation. We finally got it. They released it a couple of days ago in Master Duel without tiers, just Spright, and then the Punk support and some other staples like Illusion of Chaos that came way too late to see any relevant play. But we got Spright, and with it coming into the game, they did have one pre-hit to it, which is Spright Starter to 2, which is it's a hit. It's not nothing, but it is not enough to prevent it from being what I think the best deck in the game. This season I decided to play the Runick version since I already have a lot of the Runick cards on my Labyrinth account. I still had to get some more of them. Obviously, as you can see, the deck wasn't quite complete. So for the deck that I climbed to Diamond 1 with, I didn't have these cards. Like, I didn't have a third tip and a third Hugin, but you definitely should play them if you do have them. So I'm just showing the list that is what I consider to be more optimal. I do think Runick is the best version of this deck. There are other versions with there's the pure Spright version, which is also very good. It plays like a shit ton of hand traps. There's also the Evil Twin version, which I think is kind of trash. Not gonna lie, it's pretty bad. And then there's the Runick version, which is, I think, just outclasses the other versions. It's not exactly a OTK deck or anything like that. It's very much more grindy. Obviously, the Runick spells, they skip your battle phase, so you're not really going to ever be able to kill your opponent on turn 3, but you will be able to out-resource them with all of the cards that you do draw. With the Runick engine and then a couple of your other tech cards that allow you to draw additionally. So the other benefit of the Runick cards is obviously that you can summon Hugin, which is a level 2. And for all of your sprites, if you control level 2 monsters, you can special summon them from your hand and then go off like that. So Hugin being level 2 is just massive, and it makes the deck extremely consistent, to the point where you don't have to actually open up any normal summons like Deep Sea Diva or Nimble Angler, Nimble Beaver, anything like that, because the Runick spells do that on their own. So without further ado, let's get into the Spright cards. Spright Blue. He's the main starter / extender in the deck. It's obvious 3 of. He is an ultra rare, of course. He is. I just pulled an ultimate rare version of this card, by the way, in the TCG. It looks absolutely amazing. I posted it in my Discord if you want to check that out. It has like a really cool spiral pattern that you don't see here, but it's in the physical version of the card. But yeah, if you control a level / rank 2 monster, it's important to notice that for Blue and Jet, you have to control a level / rank 2, not a link 2. Whereas for Red and Carrot, if you control a level / link 2, you can special summon them from your hand. And an easy way to remember that is Blue and Jet are Darks, just like Gigantic, which is a rank 2. And then Red and Carrot are Fire, just like Elf, which is a link. So they kind of pair together in that way. Yeah, so you can search as a Spright monster. You have Jet, who searches a Spright spell / trap. Right now we don't have Double Cross, which is a pretty good trap that gets added in future support. But we do have Starter and Smashers, which are the spells that you're going to be searching with Jet. We have Red and Carrot. These are a monster negate and a spell / trap negate, respectively. They help you play through around / through hand traps. They allow you to set up extra interruptions on your board. They're just extremely good cards. I don't think you need to run more than one of these. They can be kind of bricky. You'd rather have just hand traps in that case. I would just run one of each of these. Yeah, Pixies. This is a card that not every list runs, but I think in this version of the deck it's pretty good. So what it allows you, it's basically a searchable honest that prevents basically whatever your opponent attacks from being destroyed by battle. It can help prevent them from going into Zeus, which is pretty great. Prevents them from hitting you over Elf, which is like pretty small. It's only 1400 attack. So I like to run the one of Pixies. And for the other Spright cards, we have 2 starter. Obviously, if we had 3 of this, we would play 3, but it is semi-limited. It's a 1-card starter, so special summon 1 Spright monster from your deck, but you lose life points equal to its original attack. And also note that for the rest of this turn, it restricts you into level / rank / link 2 monsters. Not link 2 or lower. It has to be exactly level / rank / link 2s. Luckily, we play a lot of those. But do keep in mind, if you're playing a pure version of this deck with like Zeus, you You can't summon Zeus after you use this because it's not a rank 2. But yeah, it's very important to play this. And then, unfortunately, also an ultra rare. But it is what it is. You have Smashers. It's a non-targeting banish. This is an obvious inclusion. Some people play 2 of this, but it can be a little bricky. It's up to you. I don't think it's wrong necessarily to play 2, but this technically does have 3 effects, but we're not playing Springans and Therion monsters. You're really only going to be using 3rd effect, which is banish 1 level, /rank, /link 2 monster you control, and 1 card your opponent controls. Non-targeting, so it's extremely powerful. It deals with anything. Really deals with anything. It's a non-targeting banish. You definitely play it. You search it when you can with Jet. Sometimes you may have to search starter, but if you can search Smashers, you definitely do. And then we go into our Runick cards. Playing 2 Fountain. I don't think you need to play 3 in this version. We're not playing like pure Runick Stun or any of that nonsense. You have so many starters that you should be able to consistently get to Fountain. And in case they out one of them, it's good to have the second one. 3 tip, obviously, as you can see here, I only have 2 at the moment, since it's unfortunately an ultra rare, but this is the best Runick card easily, so you play 3 of it if you have 3. Then you have Flashing Fire, Destruction, and Freezing Curses. These are what I call the good Runick cards. So you play 3 of each of these. You would either special summon Hugin or whatever, or you can use the other effect to pop a special summon monster, pop a spell / trap, or negate an effect monster. It's pretty obvious why these are the best ones. 2 Slumber. Slumber is valuable, so like obviously it can prevent one of your monsters from being like destroyed by battle of card effect once, but really what I think is the main value in this card is that you can just freely activate it like at any time while you have Fountain up and use that to proc your draws. So the thing is, if you have like Hugin on your field, you can't really use any of these other ones, but you can use Slumber. So because you can just target the Hugin, you can prevent it from being destroyed. Even on turn 1, you can do that, even if it's not going to be destroyed by anything. It doesn't matter. It just applies the effect, banishes the top 3 card of your opponent's deck, and then you can trigger Fountain to start drawing some more cards. Smiting Storm is optional. You're not going to be winning by deck out or anything, but it's another card that's just another name, like, pretty much. And it's for one of the better ones, because it allows you to really activate at any point that your opponent controls any cards, and then trigger the draws, like I said. You can play like Dispelling or Golden Droplet, but don't think those are super necessary. This is probably the best alternate one to play. Then we have Staples. So I know you see some versions of the Runick Spright deck, a lot of them run Lava Golem. I personally did not find a compelling enough reason to run Lava Golem, because what I noticed when I started playing this deck is, wow, you still lose really badly to Max C. Sure, you can like do some things to play around it a little bit. You can like, okay, activate Runick spell to summon, they chain Max C, you chain another Runick spell to summon, and then they don't get the draw. And that's fine at all, but you're losing card advantage. At the end of the day, you still lose to Max C. In fact, if you go first, that's really the only thing that you're losing to. You place their other hand traps very well. He doesn't lose to Nibiru, obviously. Ash, Veiler, Imperm, they just don't do that much. They don't do enough to stop this deck. Like, it's never enough. Unless they have like 2 or 3 of them. So, really Max C is what you're worried about. So I'm playing the full Max C tax 3 of it myself. It's also a level 2, funny enough. So you can normal summon it to overlay into Gigantic and even use it as like a combo extender, which is broken. As if the card wasn't good enough. And 3 Ash and 2 Called By. So yeah, that's why I'm playing the full Max C tax. I don't think you necessarily need Lava Golem, at least in this format. In TCG, people are playing like Totally Awesome was legal then. So they had like Elf plus Totally Awesome, which is extremely hard to deal with without like Lava Golem or Dark Ruler. So then you would need it more. It's also good into tier limits because it turns off, it gets rid of their boss monsters and also turns off their tier traps. But without those being in this game right now, I don't think you necessarily need Lava Golem. So I would like to keep it this way. I would probably even play Dark Ruler over Lava Golem, personally, because there are times where you do want to have that normal summon. And then for text tech cards. We have 3 of them. So we have, these are like the 3 that were popularized by Joshua Schmidt's original YCS winning list of Runick Spright. He kind of brought these into the forefront. So Wind Up Kitten, this is a very good tech card. You can just bounce 1 monster your opponent controls. It's good at getting rid of like large boss monsters. This deck can struggle at getting over stuff that has like over 3,000 attack, over 3,200 attack. Unless you play this card, obviously. But Wind Up Kitten's just really great. It's also soft once per turn, so you can special summon Wind Up Kitten, bounce a monster, send it to graveyard, revive it with Elf, and then do it again. So it just says once while face up on the field. It doesn't say it's hard once per turn. Hyperia and Capshell are your 2 draw engines. So it's like a nice normal summon. It just gets you... It's like if you open up just Spright cards, you want to draw into your Runick engine, or vice versa. If you just open up Runicks, you want to draw into your Spright engine. So these 2 are probably the best cards at that, since they are level 2. Spright, or Hyperia, when he's summoned, he draws 1 card. It is hard once per turn. Capshell is a little bit different. It's a little weird, but if it's tributed, or if it's used as material for Fusion, Synchro, or Link Summon, or if it's detached by an Xyz monster to activate that monster's effect, you can draw 1 card. So basically, what these cards allow you to do is they essentially draw you 2, because they draw 1 on your turn, and then on your opponent's turn, they will draw you another card, which is especially good if you have Fountain up. You just keep drawing into your Runick spells, you draw into Maxi and Ash. Yeah, it just makes the deck very hard to beat. So yeah, I definitely play one of these. Some people play 2 Hyperia. I mean, that's fine, I guess. I don't know what you would want to cut for it, though. So then we go into the extra deck. 3 Hugin, definitely play 3 if you have it. It did come up for me a couple times. Even though the deck hasn't been out for very long. You sometimes have to go through 2 Hugin on turn 1, which is annoying, so you definitely want to have the 3rd one. Gary, I never really found myself needing this card. There were a couple times where I tried to summon Hugin, but then I realized I didn't have my 3rd one in extra deck. Like I ran out of them, so I had to summon Gary. So that's really the only time it came up, which I don't think really counts. But I guess it's a nice tech option to have, like just as a potential form of removal. So maybe just play the 1. And it can also bring back one of your fountains. Then we have Djinn Buster. This is great in this version of the deck, especially with the synergy with Capshell. So he's just a monster negate, and he requires 2 level 2 dark monsters. So you just keep in mind you can't use like red or carrot for that. It has to be dark monsters like blue, jet, or Capshell. He's a monster negate, and he burns for 500. Pretty self-explanatory why that's good, but also when you detach Capshell, you get a draw off of Capshell on the next chain. Onibi Mars Soul Sweeper is a good way to remove some problematic monsters. When you are trying to push for lethal, it can just get something out of the way, and then you just attack for game. I think it's good to play as a one-of. 2 Gigantic. This is one of the key cards in the extra deck, obviously. So basically, the way this card works, it works a little bit differently than you might think at first, because when you detaches Xyz material, it detaches as part of the effect and not for cost. So it works differently from like Djinn Buster, Soul Sweeper, and like most other Xyz monsters. But keep that in mind. It allows your opponent to use something like Ghost Ogre or something to try to destroy it. And if it gets destroyed, you can't detach a material from it and you don't get the rest of the effect. But yeah, it locks both players into level/rank/link 2 monsters, weirdly enough. And this is why Nibiru is like so bad against this deck. Because your opponent can't summon anything besides level 2s. Nibiru is not level 2. Yeah, you want to make this basically every turn, on turn 1 at least. It gets your combo started, gets you to blue. If you already have blue, you can get to your Capshell or Hyperia, or get your Wind Up Kitten, basically anything. Extremely powerful card. I don't think you're ever going to need 3 of this realistically, so 2 should be fine. IP Masquerena, it's a good thing to have on your end board, since it is a Link 2. On your opponent's turn, you can go into Unicorn. And yeah, it's just another way to have additional disruption. Dark the Dark Charmer. If you're playing against a lot of the mirror match, it could be good to steal your opponent's blue or jet. It'll definitely become better once we get tier elements, because they're going to be all over the place. And they're all like dark monsters that you can steal. We have 3 Spright Elf. You definitely play 3 of this. He does everything for the deck. This is definitely the best Spright card. He gives targeting protection. He has pretty generic materials. He just needs 1 level / rank / link 2 monster. He does have a restriction that cannot be used as link material to turn its link summon, but you can just overlay into Gigantic, because Gigantic lets you use a link 2 as one of its materials for some reason. And that has the quick effect during the main phase to reborn a level 2 monster, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can even target a rank / link 2 in your graveyard instead. So you can target like IP if they control a monster. This was especially a menace to deal with in the TCG when they had Totally Awesome, but it's still extremely good even without that. Like one thing I found myself doing fairly often is on my opponent's turn reborning my blue and using blue to search a Pixies when they try to go into battle phase, so they can't hit over really anything. Yeah, Elf does everything for the deck. You're gonna 3 does come up somewhat often for this, so definitely play 3 of it. It's just absolutely broken. Eventually we will get Spright Sprint, which might change the deck a bit. Well, it will change the deck. But for now we just have Elf. Sadly he's banned in the TCG just recently, but it is what it is. Very broken card. Then we have Nightmare Unicorn. This is to make IP, but also even during your turn to just make it and try to push for lethal. Obviously with your battle phase being skipped, you have to be careful about when you're doing that, but once you grind your opponent out of resources, then you can feel safe to start making a push and then go into access code. And yeah, push for game, because this deck does struggle a little bit with putting out damage, at least this version of the deck. The pure Spright deck will play like Cat Shark, which allows them to double the attack. I'll just put that up here. Cat Shark. Basically just allows them to double attack of one of their monsters, so it makes Gigantic Spright up to 6400 attack, and so they OTK a lot easier. It's also Spright Gamma Burst, which is this one. I don't think it's personally necessary, but it does boost your damage quite a bit. On some versions of the deck in the TCG, when they played Dimension Shifter, they would play this card because it allows them to OTK even through their own Dimension Shifter. I don't think it's necessary at this moment. I don't think I really have anything else to say about this deck. It seems a little weird at first. I do want to play the pure version of Spright, but I don't think I'm going to be able to build it on this account with how low I am on gems and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just going to hop into the replay so you can just see what the deck is about. First matchup here is against Heroes, a very sacky hero player. So I'm going first. I'm going to start with Freezing Curses to summon Hugin to get a level 2 on board, and then discard a Search Fountain. I did that in draw phase, by the way. Or you should do that in draw phase. Make sure you have the toggle set to do that, just in case your opponent plays Droll. I got Drolled like once or twice this season. And yeah, just remember they cannot activate Droll in draw phase. So do that. So then I summon blue Search Jet. I have the out to Maxi in hand as well, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Starter, summon red. Later on Nibiru or something, a late hand trap. Gigantic summon Cap Shell. So you see the synergy with Cap Shell here. So once I use it as link material, I get to draw one, draw a tip. That's perfect. Exactly what I want to draw, pretty much. Summon Cap Shell. Then we go for Gin Buster. So yeah, during my opponent's turn, when I detach for Gin Buster's effect, I'll get another draw with Cap Shell. So Runick Tip Search, Freezing Curses. Banishes the Fusion Destiny, pretty based. Now I get 2 draws off a Fountain. Hyperia, perfect. So I get to normal summon it since I haven't normal summoned yet. Draw another Fountain, unfortunate. Not what I wanted there, but you know, I do have another tip, which is great. So here I'm going to shotgun the Maxi. I think you should probably do this because, like I said, a lot of people are playing Lava Golem, and at least in Runick Spright, or just in other decks in general. Because the hero lives. Probably should have let this go, but I ashed it. Then he has another one because he's so good. So tip, now I know what he's playing, I'm just going to search Flashing Fire. So I'm going to negate that and then get the draw with Cap Shell. Goes Ferris. I'm gonna negate that with red and destroy it to get rid of Ferris. Goes Vion. Freezing Curses. He has Mass Change, which is fine with me because he doesn't really have any other place. Here I took the risk of not activating Flashing Fire here. Whatever. He's not good, so I didn't have Flashing Fire. And he's off to Reborn Blue when he threatens to go to battle phase. I search Pixies. So he goes battle. Pixies does need Disintegrate, so I can't use it yet. But I'm going to pop the Dark Law, and then I would be able to use it. And yeah. So even though I can't OTK him next turn, he knows he's losing the Grand Game. Next we have against Spright, version of the deck, which I don't think is very good, honestly. I don't see the benefit of playing it over Runick Spright or some other version. My opponent has Ash and Maxi. This is why I put the Ash in. I know if this was a Lava Golem, I would be kind of cooked here. So I'm going to discard the Pixies. I'd rather have the Fountain Access. Go Gigantic. Search. Get Starter. Go for Carrot. This. And then we go to IP for the end board. So he goes Fractal. And now that I know for sure what he's playing, I'm just going to tip, search, Freezing Curse. And then get 3 draws. Negate Kit. Hyperion, get another draw, why not? See if I can get Flashing Fire. No, I do not, but that's fine. So I also have Maxi, so we just scoops. Next we have another replay against, this time, Runick Stun. So how does this deck fare? Let's see. So we open up pretty nice gas. We're able to search Smashers, which is great. Summon Cap Shell. So at this point I don't know what my opponent's playing, so I'm just going for generic plays. It's good. Not mad about that. Cap Shell, draw an additional. Reborn. And I go Gin Buster. We go to end phase. This is pretty solid. This is like basically the kind of end board you're looking for in this deck, if you can. I'm just gonna shotgun the Maxi as always. Destruction is gonna target Smashers. I'm just going to banish the Runick spell so he doesn't get a draw with it. Or he gets one less draw from Fountain, essentially. Just called by. Okay. End phase, just pop that. Draw again. Slumber. So flips there can be only one, and that's fine with me. These are 2 different types. Hyperion, draw another one. Slumber. Oh yeah, this is when I realized if I had a second or a third Hugin, that would be great, but sadly I do not at this point. Just gonna get some more draws. Draw tip, which is an out to the floodgate. Oh yeah, by the way, one thing to remember with the Runick cards in general is you need to, even though they skip your battle phase, you need to attempt to go to battle phase. Otherwise, it will not recognize that you tried to skip your battle phase, and then it will skip your next battle phase, whichever the next one is that you try to go into. And also keep in mind, it'll go straight to end phase, because there's no main phase 2 if there's no battle phase. So my opponent starts chaining stuff here because he's a Runick player and he doesn't realize how his cards work. Not that it would matter because I have Destruction. I got everything. This gives me a free draw, by the way, funny enough. This mandatory effective Hugin. Sorry. Now he's beyond cooked. Let's go IP. Because in Cylinder there can be only one. Unicorn. Look at that. Access code. Normal summon. We're done. Easy. That's all for my Runick Spright video today. Bit of a shorter one, but you know, it's pretty cool. I just hope to play with it a little bit more. I know people wanted the guide relatively early, so we'll definitely be playing more of it on stream later this week. But yeah, stay tuned for some more content. Hopefully they will release tiers soon, because I have much more experience with that deck. Yeah, thanks for watching. Peace!